What's going on? It's Sunday. Week flew by, didn't it? Welcome to Jeffrey's Cruises. Today, I'm so happy to tell you that I brought a guest, and I'm excited to share this with you guys because this is what got me into cruising. As I said all along, is that she's the one that did it. By the way, this is my mom, Shirley Weitman.
Sometimes they call me Nana. Sometimes they just say anything, and he calls me everything.
It's all fun, but the bottom line for me today, for you guys, is to kind of bring back when cruising started, right? I mean, that was, we're going on 50 years of cruising that really changed over those years. And I think that really started taking off in the mid-70s, 80s, especially when the Love Boat was on. It really took off. And I was on those ships back then with her.
And he was that high.
And I remember all these things. So today we're kind of bring back some old memories about how things were. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write down below or in the live chat, and we'll answer them shortly. But today we wanted to share with you what it was like starting in the 70s and 80s, because it was completely a different thing about travel. How travel was handled from booking all the way to actually boarding, and what activities they had. And I remember as a kid some of the things, because they didn't have kid centers. It was all about...
weren't invented yet.
No kid centers. Well, I do remember Space Invaders on. It had two games. Woo! That was it. Space Invaders and Defender. and how do I remember that? Because I think that's what I did during the downtime for us. But they also had movie theaters.
Yes.
And we got to see movies, so that was kind of neat. But anyway. Today we kind of wrote it out so that, if you guys have a question, we can answer those things and why they changed. I think I'm going to debate, is it better, or is it a shortcoming? Or not really that, but more so of it being more to the mass. I think that's really what it's turned into be. But that's okay, because they have so many things to do that you would enjoy going on a cruise versus what it was like back in the day of the Love Boat.
Well, and everybody thought that it was very expensive. It was overpriced. You didn't get anything for the money. Families, it was very cumbersome for them to travel with the children because there wasn't as entertainment as we know it today. Yeah. So we'll start basically from the beginning of that and see what the transition has been. And I think it's exciting.
Yeah. So, I'm going to just ask the questions, really, because I don't know all the answers. I mean, I was still a child. I didn't have to show up. I just showed up. And that's okay with me, because I was a kid. But, Mom, so tell me, Mom, what was it like to actually have to book a cruise? I mean, today... all I have to do is poop, 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 and I got my quote, my price.
Yeah.
I could even look at my rooms.
Yes, you could. Yes.
I mean,
so... and virtual tour.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's it like? I mean, like if I went into, let's say I wanted to go to the Caribbean or Mexico, I mean, how did that work?
Well, basically, you had to have a travel agent. There wasn't anything known as calling a cruise company and booking a tour. Booking the ship. So you went to a travel agent. And I don't know how many out there know about those phones that used to hang on the wall, and as well as the ones that used to sit on a desk. And when you picked them up, you hope you had lunch because they were heavy. So in you walked to the travel agent, and the brochures were everything that you had. That's it. Yeah. And they were combined sometimes with cruise ships, like Royal and Carnival were combined in one. Clea is the one who put out those brochures. At the beginning, and that's, my first cruise was 1976. Ooh, I'm sorry, I just told you how old I was. Okay, moving right along.
That's okay.
Yeah, okay.
But so you had to go to the agency itself, or you can call them, right? And then kind of give them a heads up of what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
I remember back in the late 80s, the Sacramento Bee. When we lived in Sacramento, they had a travel section,
Every
and they
Sunday.
had like a little clip. It said $4.99 for a cruise. To me, $4.99 back then was a lot of money, but it was including a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that So
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and when you booked it, you didn't have a choice of a room.
Yeah.
You had a choice only of a category.
Oh,
So if you chose the wrong category, that could be something you weren't quite expecting when you got on the ship.
I couldn't imagine that. So you're saying that like you wanted an outside cabin. You could have been sitting over the rudder.
Yeah, pretty much. And your vibration on the bed at night was wonderful.
You know, I actually remember that. I do. We went to Hawaii. What was it, American Cruise Line?
Yeah, American Cruise Line.
And we went out. I can't remember the ship, but I remember we got into our room and we were awakened by what was that? The anchor?
Yeah.
And it went bop, 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 bop. And I literally didn't know what it was, so I freaked out as a kid. You know, mom and my dad said, "It's okay, it's just the anchor." But that's funny.
For every chain link that went down, our room vibrated. Yes, it did. Yeah.
So they just had inside and outside cabins.
Correct. I mean, they had suites. Yes, they did, but those were quite elite.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand that the ships at that time weren't mega ships. They were small converted ships that came from Europe, and the cruise lines like Carnival bought those ships. They bought the ship that I went on in 1974, and I sailed on the original Carnival.
Oh.
And nobody called it Carnival.
No.
They said Carnival because they wanted to be sophisticated. So it wasn't Carnival Cruise Lines, it was Carnival. So, yes, 1976.
So when you booked it, now air travel's changed, right?
Oh, big time.
So,
yeah.
But did you have to, like, was there everything put together for you by the agent?
Yeah, you chose.
Yeah.
You chose. You could have pre and post. You could get a hotel the night before. The airline tickets came with your reservation, or they didn't. But it was quite risky at that time not to book a complete package.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes airlines would be delayed. The cruise line doesn't have any control over that. And therefore you were at risk. Same as you are today to a certain extent, but much more so back then.
Yeah, there was only one flight.
Yeah.
Not 40.
If you were lucky, yeah.
Any connecting flights was overnight.
Yeah, there wasn't anything really called a connecting flight.
So now wait a minute. We have the internet today. And back then we didn't have anything but, you know, the typewriters with the buttons.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what they had.
And so how did you know how to get wherever you had to go? Do you like pick up the phone and call the port, or how did that work?
Well, you know, what happened is you flew into most likely Miami, because Fort Lauderdale wasn't a cruise port at the time, it was only freight. And you flew in, and when you arrived at the airport, you came down, no escalator, remember, stairs. Escalators weren't quite there yet.
And that's like,
they were getting there, but not quite. And you came down the stairs, you had a little young, beautiful looking girl standing there with Carnival Cruises on it. And you gathered with her. Now, you might be waiting for 40 more passengers on 3 additional flights. And you arrived, because from the West Coast, overnight. That's
so you had to wait?
You had to wait. Yeah.
Okay, see, technology is changing our world.
So once the rest of the group, 40, arrived, you got on probably 3 or 4 buses. And in that time, you couldn't get on the ship until 4 o'clock, period, end of sentence. There wasn't any early booking. And have a wonderful room to wait in and have drinks and hors d'oeuvres. So they put you on a bus. Now what happens when you get on a bus? Well, they take you to lunch.
Oh. You didn't get to go board right away?
Oh, no.
What?
No, so it's 11:30, quarter to 12, and, you know.
So times have changed.
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, and you get on the bus, and they take you to a very nice restaurant with, you know, tropical theme, trying to boost the energy here.
So they load you up with food and booze before you get on before you even get to the port?
And remember, you haven't slept all night.
Oh, that's right.
You were on a night flight.
Oh.
So your eyeballs are already down to here. You can hardly walk.
Oh, Mom.
So,
That's fun.
But remember, this is the most important thing. This is
Oh,
what
yeah.
you had to have all your documents
Oh, yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Weighed at least a pound and a
No,
half.
those were from the 80s.
Well, yeah,
And-
but they were
and-
very similar in the
yeah,
70s.
yeah.
They were very heavy. Heavy. They had your airline tickets for
So-
both coming and going. They had your hotels. They
Yeah.
had your cruise. Yeah, so they were heavy.
So I do the same thing today. I make my own, and I have all the goodies in here, my hotel, my flights. I keep it organized because back in the day, I remember you said, you don't have your stuff, you ain't getting on no boat.
No, you're not. No.
But I never forgot that, especially when they didn't have my booking. One time we were going on the, it was with the kids. They were just babies at the time, and we showed up to the port, and I had to call my travel agent, which was Judy at the time. Remember
yeah,
Judy?
yeah.
And she says, "What's going on?" And I said, "Well, they don't have our booking." And she goes, "Well, I have it all right here." And I thought to myself at that moment, if I had not had a travel agent back then, what would I have done?
Yes.
No paperwork, and they were going paperless at that time.
Correct,
And I remember-
transition.
yeah, and it was they had the little stickers that they
Yeah.
gave you, and they wrapped around. I have one up there somewhere. Here it is. And they gave you these little tags, and this is all we had.
Yeah.
We didn't really have any documentation because they wanted to go into the paperless era,
Yeah.
and that didn't work out for me. So I learned to always print everything, and I think that is. I know they're trying to save paper, but that's a big change.
Yes.
Especially
yes.
in travel. So,
Well, what happens if you lost your phone?
oh, I did in New York.
Yeah.
I lost my phone in New York. I don't know if you guys saw that vlog or not, but I actually left my phone in the lift car. I felt so naked without having it.
Yeah, naked isn't even the word
man,
for it.
no. It's like losing your wallet.
Automatic, it's reach for the pocket.
Yeah.
Or for us women, most of the time, reach in our pocket
Yeah.
of our purse. And when it's not there,
Yeah.
that is
That's right.
awful.
Yeah, I highly recommend. Listen, I do this too. Is I copy our passports.
That's very, very much recommended.
You have to have these things in place, because what if you do lose? And what we do differently is that we put all the documents with one person, and then we put the other documents in somebody else. So if something happened to that, maybe their backpack was left behind, or her purse was stolen, whatever, we have something so that we'll be able to board our ship.
Well,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, and the other part of that is that your passport is your window to return.
Yeah.
No matter whether you're on a cruise ship or you're in Europe, you have to have your passport.
Yeah.
You also should, and it's just a word to the wise, keep a copy of that passport at home where you reside, so someone would have access to it.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine not having them.
No.
So back to the 70s and 80s.
Did we get sidetracked?
No, that's
okay.
what this is all about.
Oh,
It's
okay.
live. In fact,
okay.
I want to say hello to some folks that are in the chat room, and if you're still there, if you're not, I understand. You guys are busy Sunday. Nautical nurse. Hey, Nurse Nancy.
Look at all those claps.
Oh,
Yay.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
And who's the other mom, Mike?
Miss Elementary.
Miss
Hello,
Elementary,
everyone.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Oh, Tyler, hey, what's going on? Great job yesterday. I was able to see a handful of those marathon vloggers out there, and I have to say, you did a great job. This young man, Mom, by the way, he's a teenager, and he's
cool.
doing a great job. You got to check out his channel.
All right.
I'll make sure she subscribes.
Yes. All right. Another new one for me.
All right. So traveling to the port now. What's different about check-in now?
Well,
What's the biggest
when you
change?
arrived again on the bus, remember the bus at the restaurant?
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, and don't forget, you all got key lime pie whether you liked it or not. Yeah, okay. So you get to the port, and there isn't any special rooms, there isn't any VIPs, you don't have all of the stuff that's offered today. Everyone goes into an area, and you are on and in an area based on the deck that you're on the ship.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you're
that's right.
maybe
I
an
remember
A,
that.
B, C, D, E, F, etc., etc.
Oh,
So you knew that by your documents, and that's where you went, and you sat. That's it.
yeah. You're waiting.
And in front of you was probably 15 young ladies or gentlemen,
Wow.
and they're ready to check you in. So when your section is called, you go up
Wow.
to alphabetical, get in line.
What time was that at? Like,
Between 4 and 4:30 in the
What?
afternoon. And you still haven't slept.
we were sailing nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I do remember that as a kid. I would be so anxious, and it was like the worst feeling ever, because you just flew all day or all night.
Yes.
You went to lunch, and you haven't slept, like you said, and then you get to the port, and now the activities it's almost dinner time. And I remember that.
Yeah.
That was just. But there was only a handful of people, right,
Yeah.
Mom? There was
Yes, when my very, very first cruise in 1976, there was probably at the most 940 people on the ship.
900 people.
940 people. Now remember, the Carnival.
I think that was how many people on the Platinum cruise I was on last time.
I think you're right. Well, and also, once we entered the area for boarding, and we got our boarding pass, that was what was exciting. Now you have something in
Yeah.
your hand that has your name on it, and you finally know your room number.
And I remember as a kid, we didn't get a key.
No.
We got to board.
Yeah, no keys
key.
for children.
Oh, man.
No.
Oh, my gosh. And my brother, we got stories about that.
Yeah, let's not go into that one today. That's another one, yes.
Let's see. Now, so you checked in by decks, and then you had to, and then what's, I think this is a piece that I miss the most. Except on Disney cruise lines, they still practice this
Yes,
one thing
they do. Yes.
that no other cruise line does today.
No.
And that is when you board the ship, right?
They introduce you.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
And they take your key, and they'll just say, Mr. and Mrs. Moore are now boarding the ship.
Yeah.
And then whomever is assigned to you, because they have a list, they take you down to your room.
Yeah.
And as you're traveling through there, all the doors are open that the people haven't arrived yet, so you can look in the rooms
Yeah, that's
and see
cool
what they're
too.
like.
I remember that.
Yeah, instead of having cabin crawl like we do today, you did your own cabin crawl.
Nurse
Yeah.
Nancy had a cabin crawl.
Oh, yeah, Nurse Nancy, that looked like a lot of fun. How did I miss that one? Yeah, so off we went, and you were able to see what other amenities were offered based on what you had. But the thing that was most outstanding, keep in mind, this ship was built in 1952 and upgraded to a fun ship, as they wanted to be called at that time, was the fact that the beds were anchored. And when I say anchored, on the wall, you had a headboard, you had 2 twin beds.
Yeah.
Were there king accommodations? Nothing like that. No.
I remember we had bunk beds.
Yeah,
And
lots of bunk beds.
Brian is smaller than I was. I was always a kid that was bigger, and I was 6'6". No,
Not at that time you weren't. No,
but I grew up quick, and so we got the kids' bed, which was the bunk beds,
Yeah.
along the wall, and they were like literally stacked on top of each other like this. So for the first time ever, I wanted to sleep on the top because it had more room because the way that the beds were designed.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
absolutely. Yeah.
And we had both of us had to use stairs to get up.
Yeah, they
Step
had
ladders.
Yeah, step
to
ladders.
Get it. So the bottom level wasn't at the ground. It was literally you were at the ceiling,
Yeah.
and then that's
Yeah,
crazy.
Dad and I were on the bottom, so
I wish we had pictures of that stuff. You know,
probably somewhere in the archives.
accommodations
we do.
to where you are today, and nothing like the Love Boat, right?
Yeah, no.
Those rooms.
No.
That kills me. You know, you watch a Love Boat, and they got these rooms as big as this, with a king size bed with a lamp.
Right. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Rayleigh Creative Travel. And this is the California Rayleigh Creative Travel. Well, hello.
That's
I'm
Mr.
not sure.
Blaine.
Oh, Mr.
That's
Blaine.
Mr. Blaine. Thanks for joining us today.
Okay, well, I grew up with Rayleigh Creative Travel. That was where my agent went when she left her first agency. So when I saw that pop up, I went, wow, okay. Well, you know what? You're still welcome, and thanks for joining us
Yeah,
today.
right? Hey,
Absolutely.
This is my mom. So during the check-in, sorry, I forgot. I got a mic, and you clap, and it blows everyone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Everybody here's okay?
Not my
Okay,
bad.
I won't do that anymore.
So the cabins, I mean, do you have a big closet?
You know what the size of a shoe closet is? Yeah, about that big. Yeah. For 2 people. And maybe if you had a bunk bedroom, you had 4 people with 1 closet.
One closet about the size of what they are right now, right?
Exactly. Yeah. One of those of the 3 or 4 that you have in your room. Yeah.
And you were allowed to bring 5 pieces of luggage with you too.
Could.
You know, you could have a trunk and they'd deliver it to your door.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, they had those big trunks, and literally those suitcases were so big, and big wardrobe dresses.
Yes, absolutely.
I remember the ball gowns and stuff we'd see at dinner time. That was crazy.
Well, but the thing that was most impressive to me was the bathroom. Anybody have a motorhome out there? Well, the shower was the room.
Oh my gosh!
So everything got wet.
Yeah,
so
that's
if you
right.
wanted
That's right. I
you
forgot
didn't
about
put it
that.
in the bathroom.
That's right. I remember sitting on the commode and showering. You're right. Oh my gosh, you bring back a lot of memories.
Yeah, they were very, very small. I mean, they were adequate to take a shower, but really, as today's standards, they were. You know, the showers that we have in most of our cabins now, that's just about as big as the bathroom was.
Crazy.
Yes. And for Jay out there, and you complain about the shower, you have no idea. Jay.
Oh yeah, Jay, Parent DJ.
Yeah.
She's talking about what we watch them all the time. They're really cool. But the shower brings me back to the steward. You know,
the
day
steward.
when I was a boy, I would love to eat breakfast in bed. I don't know why. It was just a thing, I guess. But they were the cabin steward. They were room service.
Yeah.
They were all one person, right?
All wrapped into one.
You wanted your laundry done. They took it and brought it back.
Yeah.
They probably even washed it themselves.
Yeah.
But I remember we were and I just vaguely remember this. I was a boy. But I said, can I have bagels?
Oh, Lord.
Bagels, cream cheese, lox, and onions, please.
Oh, no.
Delivered tomorrow. And of course, my dad and my mom, they like to, let their hair down the night before or whatnot. But the kids, we were up no matter what. And guess who delivered what in the morning? And was that a good smell?
Oh, Lordy. Because sometimes they didn't remove the plates until maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yes.
So a little different then, but it was hot, fresh, and they were so happy. They had a tray with white gloves and the serviette. I'll never forget that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and he had a smile. I remember that guy.
Yeah, and they were there to impress, and yes, they did. And I think that's what made everybody at that time period realize how the elite really traveled back in the day, where cruise ships were only for the rich and famous, only for the people who could afford the Mediterranean and the Baltics. And once they started coming for us west, of course, getting into the Miami area, they wanted to make it affordable for families, and people were afraid of it.
Yeah.
They were genuinely afraid of it because they thought they would be bored all the time.
It's funny you bring that up because I go back to the pictures when I was a kid, and I saw that girl that was sitting next to us, and she was really shy, but I think they were afraid. I remember those days where people were afraid to get on the ships because they were so. They talk about seasickness back in the day. Oh. There was no thing called stabilizer.
No stabilizer.
They went this way and this way, and I do remember that. But I had sea legs, so it didn't matter to me. It didn't bother me.
Right.
And so as I was growing up, people go, "Why would you go on a ship? Don't you get seasick?" And I just remember that in the 80s and somewhat in the early 90s, people would say, Cheryl and I went on the Tropical in 91, and I'll never forget that. That was her biggest fear is, am I going to get seasick? And you needed to have specific, they didn't have, I think they just came out.
Behind the ears, that's about it, yeah.
But
they didn't have the wristbands or anything like that.
And they called it the purser's desk.
Yes.
Remember?
Oh yes.
They don't. It's not the guest services.
Yeah, no guest services.
The purser's desk had a line, and it had a special line just for the seasick pills.
Yeah.
And they'd let you have a couple of those for free, just so that you wow, times have really changed when it comes to ship development and where they used to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was fun. So what else about cruising's changed, and what do you think is the best part for, just not only the embarkation process today? We get on the ship as early as 11 o'clock in the morning now.
Yeah.
We check in at 10, we're on it by 11. And you get off the ship now by, say, 9:30 in the morning generally. And now they got it down 2 hours later. Boom, you're on the ship,
And, to me, that is mind-boggling in one respect. If you think about a cruise ship that held 900 passengers and probably had approximately 240, 250 rooms, if you multiply it out, how they took so much care and how long they had to turn those rooms getting on at 4 o'clock. But they didn't let the passengers off until 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Wow.
Because they all had a debarkation breakfast. That was something that was always, you went to breakfast and it wasn't rushed. It wasn't, okay, it's already a pre-made, menu and so on. It was, oh, you want eggs Benedict? Oh, you want, yeah. So that part of it has changed a lot. And some of it I miss, but I understand the other part of it too. But it's very different.
Yeah, it's technology has really changed a lot of the things that we used to do because everything was done by hand.
Yeah.
And everything was handwritten.
Yeah.
And then they didn't have computers to put in your order. They went back to the chef and say, I need 2 eggs Benedict with potatoes and one with this and that. Wow. Yeah, I remember back. Oh, we have some people to check in on there?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what Blaine said. He said more staff and technology has advanced the way we board and disembarked. That's what the truth of it is. And, that's definitely is a good thing because now you're talking about, turning 3,000, 4,000 passengers on every ship that's sailing pretty much. So if you take the 900 that I was on that first time, and that's, a whole lot more coming on and off the ship today. Right, it has to be technology.
I think about the impatience sometimes with people, and as I get older, I learned that you need to have patience when you travel.
He didn't have many when he was young. Oh,
don't tell my secret, my deficiencies. but I think that's really what's really changed the cruise industry today is that they've got the technology to do these masses.
Yes.
I think about the mega ships that are out there. I know we cruise a tremendous amount in Carnival, but we've also been on many, many other cruise lines. I don't want that to be the impression. I only cruise on Carnival. No. But the one thing that I will say about technology is the mega ship check-in process. I mean, with Royal Caribbean in particular, they've got that down. And to me, that's amazing. And to be able to get on the ship starting at 11 o'clock in the morning after 6,500 passengers get off, that's telling you a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's 600 people. It reminds me of the last ship, the last segment I went on in March. There were 680 passengers on the ship. It felt like a ghost town. Yeah. So after you get on the ship, did they have the buffets?
No.
No buffet?
No buffet.
Oh, that's right. You got there.
They would say buffet?
Buffet? No buffet?
No buffet. Basically, they would, up on the Lido Deck, as we call it now, and they used to just call it the upper deck. It wasn't Lido until I got on on the RCCL cruise lines. What's Lido? Oh, Lido, okay. It used to be upper. What happened to that? But when you got there, you basically had hand snacks. They had pre-made sandwiches. You could have turkey, chicken, or beef, and open salads and drinks. And, of course, they always had the drink of the day, just like they do now.
Yeah.
And they bring that drink of the day over, and guess how much? Guys, it was 80 cents.
80? What?
80 cents for the drink of the day.
I had a receipt in one of my books that showed my specialty drink with a big glass from Carnival. It was $4.20 with the tip.
Yeah. I was thinking about that today, and I was reflecting back, and I said, gosh, I remember a soda was 25 cents. I mean, but club soda was free.
Yeah.
Why? I have no idea.
Yeah.
So, there were.
But when you got on the ship, it was live, right?
Yes.
There's no piped in music, right?
No piped in music.
Yeah,
no.
I remember that as a kid, especially. Willie would always say to us, "Oh, the steel drums are the best thing in the world, and if we get them on our ship, that's going to be a highlight." And I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
That I think was one unique thing that I miss the most today, and I'm glad to see that Carnival today is bringing back their live shows with live musicians for that reason, because people miss it, and to me, that was the highlight of the cruise.
Yes.
I mean, I think
I look forward to that because it set the tone of what was going to happen. You're in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Or Caribbean, as some people choose to say. We'll go both ways. And that's what brought it to the forefront, is the matter that here we are, we're getting ready to sail away, and this music is just pumping you up. You're dancing and chucking and jiving. Even at my age now, I'd probably do the same thing, but that's like, don't tell anybody, okay? And it would be just so much fun because that's all they do. And they move from area to area to area and make sure that all the areas are covered where the steel drums were. And people wanted to stand there for 10, 15 minutes, and they wanted so bad to get in there and play the drums, but that wasn't allowed. But,
I do remember when you got on the ship, there was somebody there's no grand atrium. Okay?
No.
Don't envision it that way.
Purser's desk.
Yeah, Purser's desk. And,
that was at Purser's desk.
Yeah, and they did the shore excursions
They
there.
did everything.
Yeah, everything was just a desk.
Yeah.
And then right behind it, was maybe a plant with a violin. I mean, really. Yeah. I mean, and you walk in, and the announcement was of you boarding was to the crew. Right. It wasn't to other passengers. You didn't see other passengers.
There wasn't anybody on the ship. No.
So when you got on there was somebody there that was a crew. Welcoming you, and there was the 2 full bartenders.
Oh yeah,
that did it all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing that Love Boat really did portray well.
Yeah, 2 bartenders.
They had 2 or 3 bartenders for the entire ship. And if you went to the show that night, they were there. Yeah. And then when you went to the party deck they went up there. And they moved around everywhere. I do remember that. Yeah, that's funny.
That is. It's just. It's amazing, as Blaine said earlier. The technology, of course, has changed everything, and now we even have ships that have a robot that makes your drinks.
Yeah, that's funny.
To try to stay really, really, really good. I hope there's no robots in the bathroom, so let's just move on from that one.
Tony and Jenny had a robot for their bathroom.
Oh, no.
They got it as a gift. It's called a roller something or another. That's funny.
That is funny.
Anyway, we'll remember during the beginning of this pandemic thing, the toilet paper was out. And,
the big deal.
That was a pretty fun gift.
That was it. Yeah, absolutely.
I got sidetracked on that. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
The next thing I wanted to talk about was, dinner.
No. Before dinner, we sailed away.
Oh. The sail away? Was it like ours? Or?
Oh, no.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. I've been on the Dream with
No.
With Chris. He was the most energetic.
No.
No? All right.
In your room when you arrived was the sail away package.
Oh.
The sail away package was hats, streamers, noisemakers, horns.
That's right.
And everybody, and why everybody is because 5 minutes before that, you got your muster station.
Oh.
Every single person must announce themselves. You were checked off, Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Moore,
I actually remember that. Yeah.
And you had to have your life jacket on.
That's why I remember
properly.
it.
He didn't want to do it?
Nope,
you got to do it. So from there, you were basically just one deck up for most muster stations, and there was the top deck of the ship. Wow. And so everybody all the way around the perimeter, the outside of the ship, was doing this as they pulled away from the port in Miami. Yeah, and streamers were going everywhere, and the horns and the steel drums, 3 or 4 bands were playing all at the same time.
And you threw it overboard. Yeah, people were down below. I remember that. Yeah. They were all waving at you.
It's all the desk people you saw when you checked in are now waving you goodbye.
Yeah, that was cool.
and even the steamship gentlemen that are down there that were handling your luggage, they were also down there waving you goodbye. Yeah. They wanted to make sure that you knew
that's
you
true.
were loved.
I do remember that. Yeah, that's pretty
And
cool.
our first ship with you was Sitmar.
Yeah, I remember.
And that was the old ship. It was a class ship.
Yeah.
The old SS France. And Sitmar Cruise Lines at that time only had Fair Wind and Fair Sea. And it was a converted, class ship. So for many areas, when you traveled or walked on that ship, you had to go over, up, around, and down, and up, because you had to clear the first class cabins. They didn't have the money to actually redo the ship, so the class part of it went away.
Yeah, isn't that the ship that they had to look for?
Oh,
Brian?
yes.
My brother, he decided to play hide and seek one day, and
actually,
he fell asleep.
He fell asleep.
Yeah,
yes, behind the curtain.
And
on
they thought
the stage.
we thought we lost my brother.
We thought he went overboard.
Yeah,
they had every single person on that ship who was anybody looking for him, and they found him behind the curtain on the stage.
That was a little ship, man. I'm telling you, it was so small. Yeah, fun.
Well, small in comparison today, and I think the comparison is made somewhere. I think I read that the Carnival, the very first ship, second ship, Mardi Gras was the first, but it was a larger ship.
Yeah.
Could now fit in the engine room of the new Vista.
Yeah. I've heard that actually. Yeah. That's true.
That's
how small the ships were. Yeah.
And how big they are.
Well, he was asleep behind the curtain on the stage.
On the stage. And that stage wasn't very big, let me tell you.
We were kids, we didn't think anything other than having fun. I do remember being in Haiti, and the boats would come up to the boat, and back then it didn't matter. Nobody cared if another boat came to your boat or your ship, and you saw people down below begging for food. And
we threw fruit over.
Yeah, fruit. We got in trouble. The kids, my brother and I got a ton of trouble for throwing bananas overboard.
Oranges, but people did it.
It was just something to do. That we were looking at it differently. We weren't trying to be trouble.
No, they weren't throwing them at them as a target.
No, we were trying to give them food because we wanted to. And, and that's what we explained when we got in trouble and they let us off the hook. I don't know. The captain go, rah, rah, rah. They held you accountable. They said no doing any of that, and we did it. What was so dinner?
Yeah. Well, dinner there again, it was very regimented, I guess is a good word to use. But
I remember having
formal.
to dress up every night. Every night.
When you arrived, the doors were always closed to the dining room. There was no open doors. You couldn't look in. You couldn't even look in when you boarded the ship.
Yeah, I remember.
That dining room was completely closed off. And when you arrived, everyone usually arrived anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes ahead of time. And you waited for them for the dong, bing bong, ding dong bell.
No, it was a bell, right?
Yeah.
They went over the speaker.
But over the speaker, it
and
like
they hit that little thing.
Dong,
that was really neat. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, on the xylophone, the mini xylophone. Then they opened the doors, and you were greeted by your wait staff, and your wait staff that was assigned to your table took you to your table. And all the ladies their chairs were pulled. Yeah. Of course, the napkin over the arm, tablecloths, all paper, cloth napkins.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I suppose the thing that was most impressive to me in the beginning is let's say that you ordered the fillet of cod tonight for dinner, and someone ordered a steak and someone ordered another item off the menu. Just the entree, just the protein part of it was brought to the table. After they did that, right behind it, your busser then brought a tray. Heavy tray.
Yeah.
Potatoes, rice, 2 vegetables, sauces, and they offered you could have as little or as much as you wanted.
Yeah. I remember them using the fork and the spoon together and they would scoop it and put it on your plate without dropping anything.
In your lap.
And and the ship was moving.
And sometimes the ship was rocking and rolling.
And they put it on there with no issue whatsoever. They don't do that anymore at all.
No. And they also, by about the second day, they knew exactly what you drank at every single meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's pretty fun.
If you had hot tea at breakfast, and you had milk at lunch, and you had iced tea at dinner, it was at your place when you arrived in the dining room.
So and didn't they I mean, nowadays you can be 20 minutes late and they just, just don't be late next time.
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But now, back then, I remember, you would say to us kids, if you aren't ready, you ain't eating.
That's right.
And that's the way it was.
Yeah.
They shut the door, right?
Yeah, close the door.
That was it. It was a
15 minutes after the dinner started, the doors were closed.
Crazy.
You did not get in. Whether you begged or cried, you did not get in.
Yeah, it's funny it's not really funny. I just think that, if you have, like now, you have early dining, late dining, anytime dining. If you're there late and somebody comes in late after cruising all these years, it's kind of, they don't know better. It was never embedded in people, so it's kind of the normal now.
And I'm not sitting here saying that that's the way it should be today. I'm not even going there. But what has changed is there is a wide range of your options. It's a lot different now. Yeah. And they had to change, of course, with mega
as they got
people.
Big ships.
The bigger the ships, the more people they've got to move. So
everybody knew your name. That's one thing that Carnival still does. That's what I remember the most. And I'm not saying no other cruise line does. I just been on them lately more. Right. But they try to remember your name. Mr. and Mrs. Pooler, or who is your guest. They try to do that, but on the smaller, older days, they really did that all day long.
All day long,
and they didn't have any way of cheating. They had to remember. Right. Nowadays, they have a little. I've seen it in the background where they have a picture of you and the name, and then they go to the table. Hi, Miss Cheryl, and I said, Cheryl say all the time. How'd you know that? Well, remember that picture they took when you were boarding? Right. That's how they do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't mean to give away all the secrets, sorry. But so let's go into entertainment now. Because I remember some of my favorite things back then, especially like the horse races, because you could win money. Even as a kid, but
you didn't have to be 18.
But the music was always live. We talked about that. But what was different about the shows then versus now? Because
they were
now
small.
Everything was. They got everything.
Right, no Hollywood productions. They generally, for the 7-day cruise, they would have a singer, a comedian, maybe a trio. Or, then they would put all the staff together and they would have a staff entertainment one night where they, showed the singers and the dancers and whatever talent they may have. Yeah. They presented it to us as the live show. And of course, they always had the night of, what do you call it? When the people, talent night. Yeah. Talent show. So it definitely.
And the cruise director did everything, right? I mean,
I used to think that cruise director's going to die any day.
They didn't have a cushion job. No, that was a hard job.
He was up at 7
He
o'clock.
was the fun squad.
Oh, he was more than the fun squad. I think sometimes he was the doctor.
Oh man.
Yeah. It was. Well, one thing that I want to regress on that we almost skipped over, and that's luggage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mom. Tell them the luggage story.
Yeah, I got to tell the luggage story. Probably the most fun that I think I ever had on a cruise, and it was an RCCL cruise. I'll just give them kudos. And, of course, we had arranged our flights through the airlines, through the travel agent. And whatever the mix-up was, the airlines lost our luggage. I mean, lost.
Now, this is what year?
That would be 1979. Woo.
Okay, so lost luggage is pretty much lost in the 70s, right?
Yeah, pretty much lost in the 70s.
And you're going on a cruise.
And you're going on a cruise.
Formal night.
And this is where I learned. I learned to never leave my house without one change of clothes, period. Yep. It's on me. It's on my backpack. Whatever I'm carrying, it's with me.
And you taught that to me, too.
Yes, I did. Yes, I instilled that. So let's move forward to the lost luggage, and you're on the cruise. And it's now formal night. And you have on your shirt and your jeans, okay, and your sneakers. So you're going to go to formal night. Well, no, I'm just going to order room service. No, the ship would not hear of it. They gave us each $100 to go to and buy
whatever. 70s?
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of money.
That was a lot of money. Wow. I bought a moo-moo. Anybody out there know what a moo
I
is?
don't
Come
know
on,
what a
speak
moo-
up on the chat room.
What's a moo-moo?
One size fits all.
Oh my gosh.
Your colors could be purple or pink, but that's all you got was, one size fits all. Everybody felt so sorry for my husband that everybody gave him clothes. Some guy gave him a green jacket. Somebody gave him a pair of...
This is a true story.
Yes, black pants. He wore a size 13 shoe, so that wasn't happening.
No.
So the sneakers it was. So we became known as the lost luggage. We weren't Mr. and Mrs. Weitman, we were the lost luggage. Oh, there's the lost luggage. Oh, there's the lost luggage. Oh, how are you doing today? There's the lost luggage.
Oh, good mom.
So our second, now this is into the third day of the cruise, they announced to us that our luggage has been found. And we will be picking it up in Jamaica, Ocho Rios. But be
So wait
patient.
a minute. So they found the luggage where? In Miami?
They never told us. They
Oh.
just said it was found. And they said it was going to be brought over from Kingston, Jamaica to Ocho Rios on
Oh,
a
wow.
truck.
Okay.
Well, Jamaica's one of those countries that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon it can start raining and doesn't quit until 7 o'clock
Oh,
at night.
no.
What kind of trucks are going to be brought over? So we arrived back in our room, getting ready, hopefully for dinner that night, because we were told as we entered the ship
Oh, my gosh.
that our luggage was in our room.
Okay.
We walk in, and our luggage at that time was yellow.
Yellow? Like paint?
Yeah, yellow paint. It was yellow, bright yellow.
No way.
Yeah,
Okay.
bright yellow. And we walk into the room, and the luggage is covered in chicken feathers.
No way. Chicken feathers?
Chicken feathers.
Oh, my gosh.
It came over on a delivery of live chicken. But it got there.
Okay,
So our room steward was so nice. He had us go through our luggage. Anything that was wet or damp, they took it, they cleaned it. But don't ever lose your luggage going to Jamaica.
Well, I don't think that's going to be like that nowadays.
I don't think so. But it was
I can envision it, though. That's crazy.
Yeah. Everybody said, there's the lost luggage.
Yeah, that's true, because I remember ever since I was a boy, Mom always said you got to bring a backpack and have a change of clothes in it, and I think that would make a lot of sense. So,
Yes, definitely.
even today, I recommend this. I always have my bathing suit
Yeah.
and a change of clothes for boarding day. They've lost our CCL, and it
Must
was
be in
going
their
to-
habit. No.
No, it was an Alaskan cruise that we had done, and they
that's
lost.
right, yeah.
They lost all our luggage
Yeah.
and literally held the ship up for
Yeah,
a
3
couple
hours.
hours. To find our luggage.
Yeah.
It was just
They found it in San Francisco. They
Yeah.
just needed to get on a plane to get it.
and they waited for it to get there. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's very unusual, too.
Just for luggage.
Yeah.
So and then so after all that, that's just the boarding day and when you got on the cruise.
Yep.
What was the island's experience like? I think that's probably, to me, I think that's probably the most consistent non-change over the years.
I think I agree.
There's not that much of a change. You get there and there's so many things to do on different levels from different, islands, but it was the same experience, right?
Yeah, you had limited tours to choose from on every island, let's face it, back in the 70s.
Yeah, they didn't have zip lining.
No, they didn't have zip lining, or they didn't have,
But they had horseback riding.
Yeah, they
and
had
that kind of
horseback
stuff.
riding on the beach, and they had, in Jamaica, they had at Ocho Rios Falls that you could go and climb. And, and then you always had, as you have today, the gentleman that from an impoverished island sitting there with his taxi, and he wants to take you on the tour around the around the thing.
That was always fun.
We only did it one time, and we were in Curacao, and that was almost a regretful thing. And the friends that were that were with us, he told the taxi driver, "I will give you a $100 bill if you make it to the ship on time."
Oh, jeez.
Well, I didn't know whether we were going to make it not only ship on time, whether we were going to live to get on the ship. But
Yeah,
we
that guy
did.
was driving crazy.
Yeah. So
I was on that trip. Huh? That was Sitmar.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was Sitmar.
That was
So
fun.
you do have to be careful. You do, and but it isn't really changed. There's more. What's the resort that you go to?
Ocho Rios. Oh,
no,
you mean Mr. Sancho's?
Yeah, Mr. Sancho's.
Yeah.
There weren't Mr. Sancho's around at that time.
No.
There weren't even hotels that even invited you to come use their beach because the hotels were half empty. There wasn't that.
Yeah, that is a nice part of today. I mean, remember when we went to St. Kitts?
Yeah.
And we were on the Conquest. Mom and I just decided to go and have a good time and do our own thing without a shore excursion. So I did some research before we went, and we went to the Marriott, which turned out to be an amazing day. They had white sand beaches with the big cushion seated lounge chairs with all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was a la carte, but that was a spectacular place to go.
That was beautiful. Yeah. And the ships didn't have their private islands then either.
Nope.
No, they didn't come until the mid to late 80s, and now I think almost every cruise line
wasn't Labadee the first?
Yeah, I think.
I could be completely off my.
Or it might have been Coco-Cay, but it might. Yeah, one of those was wiped out during the hurricane at one time. So.
Now on the ship, when I was a kid, I mentioned this earlier. My favorite game was a horse racing.
Oh yes, at the poolside.
And they do that on the Journeys cruises with Carnival. They still do it today.
Bring back, yeah.
Only on those special cruises, but that's the way it was on all cruise lines.
Oh yeah, I mean, they had the horse races, and like you said earlier, the kids could win money. And, the kids really got into them.
Yeah,
and,
I remember that.
And the other thing that they had is they had the crazy shirt contest, and they had the other big hairy chest contest that was real popular back then. And there was some that just everybody got involved because the ships were so much smaller.
I was watching Paradij, their MSC, this last week. By the way, that was my favorite vlog series. If you haven't seen it, I'm plugging it right now. It's probably one of my favorite all-time vlogs when it comes to getting involved. I mean, if you go on a cruise and you just you could do nothing, or you can do everything. And getting involved is the key to having fun, in my opinion. Yeah. And that's why I remember back in the day when they had horse racing. I remember the Love and Marriage show way back then.
Oh yeah.
And it was the same as it is today.
Yeah.
I mean, it was dirty. It was still. I mean, and as a kid watching this, I was like 9 years old, and I was
didn't understand a lot of it, but still
I remember some of the stuff they would say. It's still the same stuff. And there was another game that they would use. Bingo was big.
Bingo was big.
Bingo was different, but big. But everyone won. It wasn't. The house did have the piece of the pie, but nothing like back in the day where they counted the money in front of you, and they said, okay, the prize is $725, and somebody won that cash, and there was no electronic versions of bingo. It was real money, and that was cool. And the cooking demonstrations I was inspired to be a chef as a young boy, so to go see that to me was like the experience of a lifetime as a boy. I mean, because I remember you told the chef or the head waiter a boy, hey, my son wants to be a chef, and they took me to the kitchen and the walk-in, and my first experience of seeing this stuff, this massive walk-in full of food, and I remember the meat hanging and it was swaying in that's true story. So they don't do that anymore.
No. And it was free. You could do a galley tour. They had one galley tour on every cruise, and it was free. And they had a bridge tour, and that was free. And it was limited. You had to sign up, and there was only so many people that could do it, but it wasn't charged. And many people just couldn't wait to get on the bridge. And a lot of people, of course, wanted to go in the galley, but the bridge was because those were the ships that finally had those things that were out over the water that the captain stood on. And they wanted to experience that and to be able to see the water underneath them.
I remember that.
And
it's interesting.
Some
and
cool
now you have to pay for that. It's like it's a tour on the ship. Behind the scenes tours.
Behind the scenes,
And I've done it so many times because of those experiences that I had as a young child. And as I grew up and my kids grew up, I always made sure that they got that exposure in cruising. My kids grew up as babies on ships.
Yeah.
You know?
I think Justin was 18 months old on his first cruise.
Yeah, we went on Disney, I think. Disney. And then and Allie was
Allie was only
like 3 months old.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't that young.
No, I think she was 6.
6, 8 months. Yeah. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But today, you don't get those little details. And when and I've mentioned this in my vlogs before, in my live streams of knowing people in the industry. It's really been something else to be able to bring my kids back and to see what I saw back when you were taking me on cruises, which was kind of fun. And the other big one, Mom, in the dining room for me was the Cherries Jubilee
at tableside,
and the Bananas Foster and the Baked Alaska. As a kid, now cruise ships and fire do not mix. But in the dining room, they had it back in the day, and and we were lucky so many times because those things, how they got away with that back then.
Yeah, and now I suppose the best way to say it is the safety was there then, but now when you have 3,000 people versus 900 or 1,100 people. I'm sure that brought it to the forefront as what happens if we have an incident when, these people are in a galley. What do we do with them? Yeah. Yeah,
and people, when some friends have joined us over the years to cruise with us, and maybe they haven't experienced cruising at all. But the main thing that I always refer to is back when the day when we didn't have these big ships.
Yeah.
And so somebody will ask me, hey, is that normal? And I don't even think about it. It's just natural. Are we gonna? We're moving.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're on water.
Yeah. Somehow we move. Yes.
And one night we were at the dinner table, and some friends of ours you could see the water moving in the glass. A bad example for the glass, but. The water was moving one time, and Cheryl and I are just like, oh man, it's delicious. They're over there, But that happens, after the years and years. So you forget about it, and that's why it's really cool. And one of the biggest ones that I wish they'd bring back, which I don't think they'll ever do, is the skeet shooting.
Oh yeah, skeet shooting off the end of the ship. I had a sore, if I can say this. Sore shoulder for probably 2 weeks because I was macho mama and I couldn't go out there and shoot that shotgun.
Yeah, she was a country girl.
Oh gosh, I forgot how old I had been at that time, and I wasn't shooting guns anymore. So and that and golfing.
Yeah, golf off the back.
Off the back,
and then that turned into a mess. But that makes sense now. But you're right. I mean, that was entertainment on the ships, and they made big deals out of that.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have miniature golf courses on the ships.
No miniature golf.
No, none of that. But I'll tell you another thing that I think I liked more than anything else, and that was the ice carvings. And the reason I liked the ice carvings is every day at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, they did the ice carving. And then at the midnight buffet, that ice carving was there with that out.
That's right. Oh, you brought up the big one.
Yeah, I did.
Midnight buffet.
Oh, yeah.
Almost every night we'd have a buffet of some sort.
Night,
but they had the grand gala, right?
Chocolate night.
Yes. They would have, these things are all out, though.
Chocolate carvings, fruit
carvings. You thought you got off the ship now with a couple extra pounds back then.
No. No.
It was like they had all the leftovers from dinner. And then they had a brand new buffet full of food and fruits, vegetables, and then flowers, and then garnish everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I always felt sorry because for us, 6 o'clock was dining for us. We didn't have never liked late dining, even in our home environment. And I would look at these people that I knew that were at 8 o'clock, and I'm going, and you're coming back for the midnight buffet after 2 hours?
Oh, no.
I'm thinking, are you ever going to get to sleep tonight? I just couldn't fathom 2 hours after you finish your wonderful dinner that you're coming back for the midnight buffet.
I was watching another vlog of some people sharing at sea. They brought back some of their cruise memories back in the day. And Jamie and Sharon were filming with their beta camera or the VCR version of it.
Yeah.
And
it weighed 20 pounds.
And they had the fettuccine, which was in this big bowl about this big. But the thing was, the biggest surprise is seeing the lobster tail, how big it was. It was like this big, and now it's like this big, and they give you 2 shrimp to make up for it because they know it's hard to get those big.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid going on these cruise ships and seeing the food was massive.
Yeah.
It was the prime rib was, I'd like a thicker cut. They bring it out on the table side and slice it to order.
Yeah.
And I'd like a thicker cut. Those days are gone, but man, they just, those are things that changed over the years,
And as Blaine said earlier, technology, and that is what it is all about today. And it's a situation where the improvements have been wonderful, and for us, like myself, that when I was a travel agent, which is another story for another day, I saw the transitions and the changes coming. And I always like to tell my clients at that time, go and have fun. Don't worry about what the changes are or from the last time, because next time you go, there's going to be more changes.
Yeah.
And that's my real attitude today. I love sailing, or I wouldn't have done it as many times if I have. And at the same time, you got to go with the flow. And the minute you start trying to swim up tide, it isn't going to work for you or anybody else. And the only last thing that I miss more than anything else, and a lot of people push back on it, and I'm not sure why, but is sitting with other people from somewhere else.
It is different. I loved it. I mean, I grew up that way, going on a cruise. I met so many amazing people
and
that
some
way.
people are still friends today that I sailed with in 1982.
Yeah, and those some of my friends that are watching right now, they actually, I went on ships with them,
Oh, you poor thing. I'm sorry. sorry about that.
But we have a good time every time, and we're just, that's what we embrace that cruise life. It's your time. It's what you work for. It's literally a way to get away and just forget about everything else. And when back in those days, there was no technology of Wi-Fi either. There was no cell phones.
Or if you had an emergency, you couldn't even call anybody.
No live flight. Right? They went to the nearest port if you got sick. I remember that stuff.
I think that the first experience I had with life flight, a gentleman had fallen, and he was in his late 70s, and he'd fallen and broken his hip, but unfortunately it was a nasty break. And we had to turn around and get as close as we could that a helicopter could come from the Turk Islands. And we were dead in the water for like 5.5 hours just waiting for life flight to come in.
And that's just a little boat back then. They did have helicopter pads. I remember that.
This was on Monarch. It was on Monarch or the Caesar Royal or CCL cruise. So they had heliports at that time, but we were at a position that we had to find an island close enough that could bring a helicopter out.
I think I'm thinking back to my first big ship that the biggest ship I was on was the Tropical. I think that was my biggest ship at the time, and that was big because it had the full-blown theater on it.
Right.
And they had an aft theater and a full theater, and that to me was and then that was when Celebration, Holiday, the Jubilee, all those ships were out, and they were the hot items. That's when cruising boomed, I think, in my opinion. And then when the mega ships came out, that was the second phase of cruising. So this is like your third, pivotal change.
My third my opinion would be my third generation of cruising. It went from the little, sand dabbers, as I used to call them, to, the Nordic Prince. That was the first RCCL ship. It was a brand new ship. It only had, this is its second
There's only a handful of those, right?
And it was 1,240 passengers. And, it's unbelievable the change that I saw from the Carnival to the Nordic Prince. I mean, at that time, I was blown away. I could not believe my room. I could actually stand up and turn around in it. So, let's do some shout outs here. We haven't done any for a while. Ann, hey, thanks again. We love you. Appreciate it. Oh, and look who's down there. Papa Mozo. Hello.
Hi,
oh my
Papa
gosh,
Mozo.
Papo. You got Mama today. I mean, Nana. I mean, whatever he calls me, okay? Glad to see you on
Nana.
today.
So she's my guest today.
And
having fun.
it'll probably be the last time too.
No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She'll be back. Now you're gonna get to go. There are some
ifs.
There's a lot of ifs today, and we don't want to jinx it.
No.
I like to call it.
Well, and we go with the flow.
Yep.
And there's nothing that we can do to change it.
Nope.
So we're hoping
if I feel safe, I'm going.
Yeah.
I don't feel safe, I'm not going.
Yeah.
We're 63 days from the freedom. Now that ship is booked solid. Wink, wink. I don't know how this week, and we don't know why, but that's a good thing or a bad thing. We don't know yet. So we'll either find out if that's going to happen or not. And then the next one, which you're going on possibly in October, is the October 24th group cruise.
Right. His birthday.
My birthday.
He's going to be 10.
No, there you go.
10.
Perfect. Thank you, Nana.
And I'll be 15. Okay, we got it now.
So, and that's with Lalita Loca and Sharon at Sea group cruise, which is also Halloween. Which I think
I don't have to dress up. I'm already scary.
Come on. So those are our plans in the near. I have one going to Alaska next year. I'm sure everything will be good.
Well, I have one before he does. So there.
That's right.
Last year,
where are you
unfortunately.
Going? Well, this year it got canceled.
Yeah, it got canceled. But I took my granddaughter to Europe last year for her. Basically her pre-graduation, and this year I was going to take my grandson on his 21st birthday on a transatlantic cruise. It got canceled in April, of course, so now it's rebooked for next April, and the good Lord willing, the creek don't rise, we'll be on that ship.
That's on what, Royal?
No, that's on, it is. It's
Royal?
on Anthem and Seas.
Anthem.
Yes.
Oh, that's one with the big the ball?
Yep.
Yeah,
It goes,
technology.
No. I told Justin, you can go do that. Ain't going to be Nana.
Oh, man, I want to see that. Yeah. I think the ship show, John, he did that on his trip when he went to Alaska, if I'm not mistaken. He did that with his family, which cool. And I guess there is one other trip. You probably haven't. Mom probably doesn't know this, but they're getting a gathering before the group cruise in September. For Las Vegas.
Oh, in Vegas.
So Viva La Vegas. Wow, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So if cruising doesn't happen, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, times are changing, and I think we all have to be very flexible, and we all have to understand that patience is going to be it. And I've always taught my children, and hopefully installed my grandchildren as well. There's only two things in life that are important. One is like yourself.
There you go.
Two, you make sure that everybody around you knows that you're a human being, and that's all that matters in this world.
Aw. Thanks, Ma. Well, hey, guys, we wanted to make sure that we got some history about Jeffrey's Cruises. This is the history. This is what you're getting. This is the real deal from me. And this is something that I am very passionate about. As you can probably tell, I've got a lot of history in cruising. And that's what this channel is about. Every week, every Sunday at 2 o'clock Pacific time, I would be bringing something new, something different. I know we can't really go out and do things right now, but that's where we are in this world. And so I figured this would be a great opportunity to bring, not necessarily story time, but great content that you can, ask questions about. So please, feel free to write down in the comments below and let me know your feedback. It really does matter. I'm committed to this, and that's the channel I want to bring to you guys. So, if you're not a member of Jeffrey's Cruises on YouTube, on our Facebook, please run over to that channel and click that like button, click that subscribe and notification bell, and join the group. Right now, it is live on Facebook called Jeffrey's Cruises. I have 2 segments of that. One is the actual open group, and the other's information. The other is just the dashboard for Jeffrey's Cruises. That's where I post my links, upcoming cruising events, where I allow friends to come in. So you can't really write in that one, but in the group version, absolutely feel free to join in on that.
Well, and also I'd like to say thank you, Jeffrey, for bringing me in today. And I know I'm your mom, and we have a lot of fun together and travel together.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll bring me back with something that's more of content. And just know one thing, guys, when I'm here, I am what I am, and I love all of you out there, even though I haven't met you. And you stay good and you stay healthy. And thank you, Jeffrey, for inviting me.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah,
that was fun.
One other thing I wanted to talk about is the community itself and what it brings to me. This was my eye-opening for my life. I mean, think about it. 40 years of cruising now. Yeah. That's a long time. Yeah. And I think back to, we shared the stories today, the old booking ways, and how you had to have a travel agent, and your airlines had to connect just perfectly, and the agents met you and they called you by your first name, to what it's like today, and that's tremendous.
And don't forget, travel agents today work just as hard as they did yesterday.
Yeah.
And don't ever be afraid to continue using them. They are your support. They are your lifeline, especially during these troubled times right now.
Yeah.
Above anything else, you will be sitting on the phone for hours if you think you want to get into the cruise line.
That's true.
And the one
I know for sure.
and the one good thing is all travel agents have the travel agent line.
Yep,
They'll still be waiting, but they're your lifeline right now. So,
today,
we support them all.
Sorry, Ma. So today, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Papa Mozo, I did see your chats. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's see. We have Anne. Hi. What did she say? Mom, I can't.
Oh, she says she
guess what I did?
What's that?
I got glasses coming.
Oh, goodness. Now you can read them.
I'll be able to read them. So I got the bifocal version.
She said that it was very interesting and informative, and she had to go back to work, but she was watching on her phone.
Thanks, Anne. I appreciate that very much. And nautical, I know you as Nurse Nancy. So thanks for joining us all today. We appreciate you, and looking forward to meeting you all on the group cruise. And you guys have a wonderful day. Hey, don't forget the like button, please. Those matter. And subscribe today if you're not a member. And click the notification bell. You guys have a wonderful weekend. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.